Right, welcome to another episode. So I haven't done an episode or like a proper video with talking and stuff in a while. I lost my voice a little bit and I've got a new family and everything, so trying to get this all done at the dead of night without waking up the kids is quite hard. Anyway, I've managed to find some time, so here we go. This has arrived in the post for me. I saw this on WGC Shop probably about 3 weeks ago. Dropped the guys at Toxicant a message, and they sent me one in black because I'll show you later, but basically the ones that WGC Shop had were in tan, and I'm not a real fan of tan pistols, so they sent me one in black. Now, this is a Marui Gen 5 MOS 9x19 slide, or 9x19 if you look at the markings on it. Now, it's not a brand I'd heard of, and to be honest, when I first saw it, I thought it was a 19X slide, so it didn't really make much sense to me, but I've kind of done a bit of research on it, and it does make a lot more sense. It was about £150, 170 once you include the tax on it, which for a Gen 5 slide, for a Marui Gen 5 slide, is actually pretty good. And as well as that, it comes with the recoil rod. This isn't the one I'm going to use. It comes with the recoil rod, comes with sights, comes with barrel, comes with optic plates. It's, if you're going to buy the same sort of slide package with Garda, I mean, the slide and the barrel alone would cost you 170 quid, never mind the plates and the sights, and the recoil rod and everything else. So it represents good value. The bit I am somewhat apprehensive about is this. They have created a modified hop unit, and I'll be interested to see why, because there's nothing wrong with the stock one. And it also means I can't use the TTI hops, which are my all-time favourite hops. So let's take some stuff out the bag. A little bit dusty. Some pretty aggressive serrations and knurling. Looks like the extractor is pre-fitted. This I really like, actually. I know I've talked to a few friends and they don't like this, but a lot of the new Gen 5 real steel slides are moving towards having the co-witness sight in front of the optic here. I am a really big fan of this. I really, really like it. So I'm quite happy. I think this is the first slide I've seen where they've done this. Brings the optic slightly back, sight there. In my opinion, it makes the co-witnessing better, but what do I know? I just play Airsoft. Here is the barrel with the weird little screw, because you're gonna have to fit a spring on it. Some neat little ports on it. Let's have a quick look. I reckon you're gonna have to tighten that before you can put the barrel in. It's aluminium barrel. That's, if I'm going to complain about anything, it's the aluminium barrel. I don't particularly like aluminium barrels. I much prefer having a steel barrel. Look at that. The ports look pretty cool. That looks nice. So yeah, that's good. That's good. Very standard recoil rod, maybe slightly longer on the end. They very lazily put the buffers there, so actually it doesn't, I don't know why they've done that. They've put the buffers like on the spring, which is completely pointless. Oops. I suspect that one might do the job. Yeah, there we go. So if I were them, I would have taken those out. Sorry, I'm letting my OCD get the better of me a little bit here. There we go. If I were them, that's how I would have done it. Like that. Anyway, we'll see if that's right. That might be completely wrong. RMR site. That's interesting. That is a acro site. Quite a bit thicker for some reason. Maybe they're worried it will fall off. Your optics. They're quite nice. Obviously the hop unit, I'll have to figure that bit out later on. I mean, it looks fairly similar to the OEM, just a couple of extra screws. And then this is quite interesting. They've sent us a very lightweight, that weighs almost nothing, very lightweight blowback unit with some random screws, and you've got that bit there. Is that gonna go? Oh, interesting. This looks a little funkier than the OEM one. I wonder why. We'll have to have a look. And then your 9x19 RMR back plate here, that goes nicely in there. So let's get all the baggies out of the way. Oops. I'm going to put the sights on first, just because they seem like the lowest hanging fruit. It's nice that they send the slide in a pistol case. I think if it were me, I would have opted for them not to write slide kit or to laser etch slide kit in the box, because now it's always going to say slide kit, and even if there's not a slide kit in there, it's going to say slide kit. It's good. It would annoy me. It probably will annoy me a little bit if it just said, I don't know, Toxicant or maybe Gen 5 MOS. That would be quite nice. So yeah, oh, interesting. I am gonna have to find an Allen key, I think, to do this. Yes, I am. Interesting. Right, let me find an Allen key kit. There we go. May or may not be the right size. Too much. Just about. Alright, that's that done. Right, so that is that so far. Let's have a look. This is a tinkered with slide or pistol. It's got the spring sets put in. I've made a custom trigger for that, so that's a 5KU trigger that for a Gen 3 that I've modified to fit a Gen 5. If it's of interest, I'm happy to do a video on it, but it does actually cost me money to do this particular video, as I have to go buy a new trigger and modify it just for the purpose of the video. I've also got a upgraded in a barrel. Let's actually get on that, because that is probably not a bad thing to do first. So if we take all of these bits out. Something I've noticed that's maybe disappointing is the aluminium slide does not have a steel slide catch, so that is going to get absolutely pulverized. That may be a significant problem in the design they've done. Right, so that's the chassis out the way. I probably want that O-ring as well. Get that out the way. And then they've chosen Allen keys, so wrong size. If I do the job. No. Is that spinning? No, it's not. Having a moment. There you go. There we go. Let's put the... I've also done a cut down hadron fang put in there, because I find in these kits that works the best. My personal opinion. I wonder if that goes in a different section because it's slightly longer. I'm always wary about over tightening these, because lots of these companies use cheap aluminium screws, and they end up snapping the holes. Interestingly as well, if you see there, so they've put the hole for a grub screw, which I assume is to secure it to the frame, but they've not provided the grub screw. So that's another interesting thing, or not, depending on who you are. Right, let's start there. I can never get the direction of these cogs right. Always put them in wrong first. There we go. That looks all right. And then that goes in there, and with any luck, there you go. Looks like if you over tighten it, you start damaging the spring, so yeah, there you go. All right, now for the more difficult part of this, I'm going to put those all over there for now. A decent screwdriver head. Right. I think out of convenience I'm going to put the RMR plate on, because I have a RMR here. I have my trusty knockoff Hollow Sun. Is that the right? I think that's too small. Yeah, too small. Oh, what's going on? That one. These CNC tack RMR plates are reasonably good. I like that they've got a steel screw insert. However, I have seen a couple of these come in for repair where people have managed to snap the steel insert somehow, and I don't quite understand how that's possible, but give Airsofters something and they will break it. Do those two play on. Oops. So that that is impossibly tight. I'm not sure you're supposed to do that without scratching the slides, to be honest. Let's try take the I think that Okay, so it is the optic that was the troublemaker. Interesting. My holosan is too big by ever so slightly too much. I'm not going to mess with that. What I'll do is find a different optic to put on it at a later date. See if my RMR's, my actual Trijicon RMR fits on it. If it doesn't, then we know it's off spec. All right, I'm gonna leave that like that for now. This is always fun. I think I've done a video on this before, but this is how you get the blowback unit out, and it is murder. Make sure you take out the steel slide stop plate because it makes your life a million times more easy. Allows you to flex the... There you go. Oh, that's probably the quickest I've ever done that because people are watching. I can go over there, none of that's useful anymore. I've fitted a aftermarket Garda nozzle to this purely for my own curiosity. It looks like you pull that out. There we go. Nozzle goes in there, fine. That goes in there like that. Okay, I think I want you to use the original screws. This actually might have been easier if I hadn't taken the pin out the nozzle, but didn't know what I was doing at the time. Looks like they use slightly bigger screws. Oops. What I'm going to do is just confirm which screws are which. Okay. And these, I assume. Oops. Bumped my head on the camera. Okay, it's quite beefy screws. I wonder. Oh, okay, I think you are supposed to use okay, right, so you are supposed to use the original screws. It's just that they basically don't tap until the last sort of 2 millimeters, which I don't think is a good idea, but that's just my opinion. Right. So I'm not sure what the extra 2 screws are for. Maybe they're for the acro plate. Who knows? Oh, having a poorly coordinated moment. There we go. Put the pin in just to hold the nozzle in place, and then put that in. Now the easiest way to do this is if you have something that is like a needle tip. This is what I've got. You can go in there, fish about a little bit, and push the pin through the spring. And that holds it all in place. So now I believe that is how it all fits together. There's your 9x19. There we go. Oops. That isn't good. That nozzle will not fit. Alright, well, people warned me about Toxicant quality, and I think we are here. Do they expect you to insert it from the top? Ah, they expect, that is unusual. I will give them that. I take back everything I said. So you have to insert the nozzle from the top. How strange. But fair play to Toxicant for doing it and figuring it out that way. So now that the way they've fitted that blowback unit is a little bit mental. And then the screws are ever so slightly off angle, so if you tighten one up before the other, you can't get both in at the same time. You know what? That seems alright. Alright, that can go in there, and that goes in. Oh, that's not right. Is that? I don't think this will fit together quite, but let's have a little look. So that is an extremely tight fit on the hop unit. Oh, nightmare to get out as well. Whoa. There we go. Ooh, that is firm. I might have to just lube this a little bit because it is not nice. That's good. So just rubbing a little bit of white lithium grease on the sort of contact surfaces. And if you're wondering, yes, I am using a t-shirt because it was the nearest thing that was like a cloth. Does look like the hop unit fails to seat properly for some reason. If you look there, it's not always in the right position. Not happy. Okay. I'll just get a magazine and see how it goes. I think this has Abbey Ultra or Ultra Air in it. That does actually run out of gas. Yep, that's not the pistol's fault, that's the magazine's fault. I am pleasantly surprised by that. Let's get another magazine and see. That is quite nice, I have to say. I was sceptical, and I still am somewhat sceptical. I'll have to do a game day. You can already see there's a little bit of early engagement on the... I'm not sure how clear that is. So, like, how many shots was that? 10 shots or something? And there's already a little bit of wear on the barrel, which shows that the barrel and the slide are touching when they recoil, which isn't ideal, but it's quite common. I guess another thing to point out is that the grooves on the slide don't match the cuts on the frame, which is annoying. You'd have thought that they would have matched it all. Otherwise, looks quite good. I'll get some photos of it when it's completely built. So I've had a moment to tinker. I fitted the JDJ magwell. Had a little slip there with the Dremel, which is annoying, but oh well. So these JDJ magwells need a bit of filing to get them to fit. There you go, you see there. So otherwise they sit too tight on the magwell, and then the magwell squeezes the mag and you can't get the mag out. So that's that. There you go. Now, RMR. This sort of fits. As you can see, there is a little bit of metal wear. So what I'm going to do is just always modify the cheapest thing, and the cheapest thing in this case is the AliExpress RMR. So I think what the problem is that these holes are off spec, which makes your RMR not sit perfectly straight in the mount. Because on this side of the mount there's adequate clearance. On this side of the mount it touches the frame. So I think, if Toxicant are listening, I think you made a boo-boo on your RMR plate, because I've just off camera tried it against about 6 different brands of RMR. So I've tried it against a SOTAC, HoloSun, unbranded one, an SRO which is SOTAC as well, a HoloSan, and I can't remember what the last one was, but I've tried it against several of them and they all have the same problem, which is they catch on one side and they're not too tight on the other side. You might not be able to see it here, but the RMR is touching the slide there and it is not here, so the RMR sitting ever so slightly off, which is because of the holes. So that's whoever's done that RMR plate has made a boo-boo. The other thing I would recommend, if Toxicant are listening and fancy taking on some advice, I would make a threaded barrel for this, because this would be really good with a tracer. Ooh, that's interesting. Didn't like that, did it? All right. So there we go. 9x19 Toxicant. I think for the money it's fine. It's not perfect. I think, for example, the RMR plate isn't straight. We can actually do it. Yeah, I won't be able to do it, but the RMR plate isn't straight in my opinion. Is very tight, and the barrel is wearing there already, which in Gen 5s it's not really supposed to happen. They're supposed to ramp off this slightly, and then it shouldn't happen. But yeah. I guess again, second mag. So yeah, I've got a few more videos coming up, so thanks for watching. Probably I might take this out this week to play, so we'll see whether it's any good or not. If not, then I'll do a review later on with chronoing and all that sort of thing. Thanks.